Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Transition Place. This is the first Monday of the month of March 2026, and we are live here with you with This Love Thing. This Love Thing is the ministry of intimate relationships, and we're going to be talking tonight about the topic, what are we really talking about? What are we really talking about? In other words, in these relationships, are we really having effective communication? Are we asking the right questions of each other? Are we getting straight to the point? Are we listening just to defend ourselves? Are we listening just to respond? Are we listening to have understanding? Are we being considerate of one another? Are we really doing what we're supposed to do to hold up our end of the bargain in the relationship? What are we really talking about? All right. So we're going to get into it in just a moment, but we're going to pause for a moment for station identification. We are live right now on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So if you're with us already in the live audience, I want you to tag somebody, share the stream with someone. Make sure that if you're with us on Facebook, you can share. Just go ahead and share this particular broadcast onto your page. All right. Do the same if you got us on Instagram or Twitter. Share this on your page. We want everybody who can get help with their relationship to come on with us. Now remember on first Mondays, Tisha and I, we don't teach in the King James. We teach in the Uncle James. Y'all know what that means?
Yes.
That means it's some real talk tonight, y'all. We know you're real people with real issues, and we got some real answers for the real problems. All right. Jonathan Lovelace, we see you. God bless you, brother. All right. Bless your bones. If you're on Facebook, make sure you tag somebody. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram, make sure you send someone that link or share the stream to your page. Let someone know that Transition Place is on. Lady Tisha and I are going to do our best to help you tonight. Like I said, tonight we're dealing with the question, what are we really talking about? What are we really talking about? Huh?
We talking about a lot.
Yeah, we talking about a lot. I mean, we see it's so much to really deal with in relationships that is really nothing to play with. I mean, for real, it is nothing to play with. And if you're not careful when it comes to your relationships, you'll really make enough mistakes to make the person that you're with to say, "Did I make the right decision with this joker that I'm with? Did I really make the right decision?" And we don't want to push our loved ones to that place.
Right.
But if we're not careful, we can do that. And it's difficult enough to maintain a healthy relationship with a person that you see every day.
Mm-hmm.
And notice I said healthy relationship. You can be in relationship with anybody, but you want to maintain a healthy, vibrant relationship, a good relationship. Tisha and I were married previously to other people. We've been divorced. We've been through custody battles.
Ooh, Jesus.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Y'all, while he's talking, so y'all see, I'm over here doing the comments and everything, so I'm multitasking. I'll be talking in a little bit.
Yeah. She holding it down on that front while I'm holding down on this front. Believe me, we're multitasking and team working. And so we speak from that perspective. We have a blended family. We have adult children. We have grandchildren. We came together while we had teenagers. We had teenagers, and we were trying to get our thing together. So we just want to say that to let you know that we come from that perspective. All right. Now, in the audience, we may have some folks who are clinicians with some good old license, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all along tonight, as we're going along, if you have questions or if you have comments, please be sure to add that in. We love questions and comments. If you have a question that we may be able to answer, we'll certainly answer that for you. If you have comments that will add to what we're doing, we'll put it up on the screen so it'll be part of the conversation. All right. No question is a dumb question. The only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. All right. So we're going to get into it. Tonight, we're talking about what are we really talking about?
Yes.
Are you effectively communicating in your relationship? Let me give you an example. All right. Let's just say a problem arises in the relationship. There's some tension in the relationship. All right. I notice that there's some behavior with Tisha that is aggravating me.
Mm-hmm.
How do I handle that with Tisha? Am I going to sit on it and see if the behavior changes, taking the risk that I'm going to be aggravated to the point that by the time I say something, I'm not going to be able to say it rationally? When I do say something, have I held it so long that I'm going to speak in anger? When I do say something, and am I going to hem and haw, or am I going to get to the point? In other words, am I going to say, sweetie, may I speak to you? Sweetheart, well, I, over the last few weeks, you've been doing this and saying this, and I want to let you know that's very aggravating to me. I don't like that because it makes me feel like this. Is there something that we can do to modify that?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to come to the table and see if we can, talk about it. Or am I going to come to her in a more aggressive way? Or am I going to allow myself to have negative behavior in other areas so that she will start to wonder, well, what's wrong with him? Am I making myself clear? What are we really talking about? She cannot. God bless you, mother. We see you in the audience. God bless you. Good to see you here with us. Tisha can't address the problem. As a matter of fact, she doesn't even know that there's a problem with me because I'm the one that's having the aggravation with her, right? She can't address the problem until I let her know there is a problem. But if I don't address her the correct way, I cause a whole nother problem. Now, what I'm not going to do is talk around in circles and hope that she catches what I'm saying. Now, I know that everybody has different personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people can handle that. I told Tisha from the very beginning, don't do that to me. I get very aggravated when you talk in circles to me. I don't like riddles. When you want to say something to me, look me right in the face and tell me exactly what you want to say. That's how you get along with me. That's how you will get what you want from me. I'm the
Mm-hmm.
type of person that if you want to be effective with me, you got to tell me exactly what you want. It's not romantic, I know, but you will get what you want from me. Just tell me exactly what you want. Don't use too many words. Get right to the meat. I don't need a host. I don't need a setup story, and I don't need an off ramp. Sweetie, I want this. You can have it. I guarantee you. Sweetie, you're doing this and it aggravates me. No problem. I understand that. Now, that's the way that I receive information. And I have made it easy for Tisha because I not only have told her that in the beginning, but I consistently reinforce it. If I'm trying to get information out of her and she's being a little too chatty, I tell her, sweetheart, hold up, baby. That's too much information for me. I just need you to get right to the point. And I know that aggravates her sometimes, but I'm lost with too much information. Just tell me what the main point is, and I'll ask the questions that I need. The other information, I don't need it. I'm sorry, I just don't. Am I making myself clear? Because at the end of the day, we got to ask the question, what are we talking about? Are we communicating effectively with each other? And when I'm trying to tell Tisha about this thing that's aggravating me,
Mm-hmm.
am I speaking to her like she's the love of my life? Or am I talking to her like she's some chick in the street? Am I speaking to her as if she's my equal? Or am I speaking to her like she's taking some special classes? You see, all of this stuff counts.
Mm-hmm.
All of it counts, right? And I want the same thing. I'm going to deal with her the way that I desire for her to deal with me. And I want to deal with her with respect, with honor, and with consideration.
Mm-hmm.
And you know something that I want after I come and tell her, sweetie, this behavior, it's a it's really aggravating me. I want a response from her that's really gonna help to get me to a better place. I'm hoping that her response won't be, well, you just have to get over it. No, baby, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Because we can do better than that. Because I don't think she would want to hear that from me. I'm making myself clear. Because once she tells me that, now as far as I'm concerned, the next issue you have with me, fair is fair. You got to live with it too. Am I making myself clear, baby?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, how we deal with each other is a prime example. My dad used to use this statement, you never ask for that which you're not willing to give. So when we started to deal with each other, we always said fair is fair because I can't ask you for something if I'm not going to be willing to give it to you. So we always start there because that's a fair place to start. Like you said, I can't ask him to um if I haven't communicated something, he might do something to irritate me, but um you always have to come in because you can't come in hot expecting for somebody to what, you getting on my nerves. You're not going to get much of accomplishment and or a change coming in hot like that. Again, speak to I call him my forever boyfriend. I'm going to speak to him the way that I want for him to speak to me. If the shoe is on the other foot, if I have an issue that I want to address, how do I want him to speak to me? So, in turn, this is how I have to speak to him. Even if something has gotten under my skin, if I have to go put myself in my little timeout corner for a moment, go get myself together, get my words together, and make sure that I season them with grace, you have to prepare yourself. Because again, you don't go talking to somebody and talking crazy and then expect for them to not speak to you the same. So it's always speaking in love because you want to be spoken to in love. Address whatever issue, but you can't be talking crazy because whatever your issue was, you're not really addressing the issue because we didn't talk to each other crazy, so we addressing some other issue. So speak to each other in love, address the issue, and you can move on forward, you know?
That's right. Jonathan Lovelace says fair is fair. And that's one of the points that we get into. You have to be fair to each other because when you're in a relationship, when you feel like you're being treated fairly, you're gonna get more out of each other. One of the secrets to Tisha and our success is she feels like I'm always going to deal with her in fairness, and I certainly know that she's going to deal with me in fairness.
Mm-hmm.
So we tend to have real good success with each other. Like any other couple, I can work her nerves, she can work my nerves, but because we have a reputation for not quote unquote coming for each other, when we work each other's nerves, that's just the natural yin and yang of relationship, and not us being antagonistic of each other.
Mm-hmm.
We give each other that space and that consideration. I always would tell my children, When you get into a situation when it's kind of tight, you always give that person the benefit of the doubt of their reputation with you. What is their reputation with you? So until you can speak to them to clear the air, whatever their reputation is with you, you
Mm-hmm.
go with that.
Right.
So if their reputation with you is to be a little, well, then you go with that. But if their reputation with you is being above board, then you go with that until y'all can talk.
Right.
Don't
Mm-hmm.
ever go against whatever their reputation with you is. So when you're in this relationship with your significant other, you always want to keep it right. Don't let a problem fester. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let's address it early. And listen, even though something makes you angry, you don't have to address it in anger. Tisha and I have this technique we call getting beyond the moment. Her and I are natural leaders. We both she say both of our mouths are slicker than a can of oil, right? and
Slide down a slippery slope.
we always say we probably could ruin our marriage in about 10 minutes if we wanted to. And so because we know that, we're very careful about speaking to each other in anger. So if I'm really, really aggravated, I won't speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go and calm down so that I can get myself in a place where I can speak to her at a level where our relationship deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
She don't deserve to be talked to like a dog, but I may be in a dog talking to moment. Am I making myself clear?
You still have to extend each other grace, even in the as I might say, even in my highest moment of festivity, I still should lend you grace because even after this, where are we? I can't be looking at you sideways like this joker. We might have our moments, but when you get past the moment, where are you?
Mhm.
You want to get past that. Let me ask this question to, I guess, that we have. When you do have moments, what is your takeaway when you go to address something or whatever your issue is? What is your takeaway time? Like, if you have an issue, do you give your spouse some time to address the issue? Do you give them like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month to address whatever the issue is? I'm just saying hypothetically, whatever the issue is, do you give them time to address the action item, whatever it is, depending on the severity of it? What say you?
What's a fair amount of time? In other words, same issue. I come to teach and tell her there's some behavior that's really, really aggravating me. What is a fair amount of time to give her to work on the behavior before I come back and say, "Hey, sweetheart, what's going on?" I guess there's probably not a cookie cutter answer for that because I guess it all depends on the couple, the level of maturity of the couple, right?
How long you've been married? It could be um, something like taking out the trash. Hypothetically, you have a husband that he don't take out the trash, or he takes out the trash, but he leaves the trash bin if trash is due on Monday to be picked up, but he doesn't bring the trash bins in on until Thursdays. And maybe the neighbors complain about it, but you, as the wife, you would like for the trash containers to be picked up on Monday instead of Thursday, so you don't have any complaints from the neighbors. Would you say, sweetie, I would really appreciate it if you bring the trash can in so it doesn't have a negative impact, so the neighbors don't complain, it doesn't get on my nerves, and so we can get along? Or maybe if prime example, I'm going to give, I used to get in the car. Sometimes I can be a little bit slow. I'm going to say sometimes I can be slow as cold molasses. And I used to do things like get in the car, and I could be doing several things all at one time. And I would not put my seatbelt on. Ding, 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 ding. And I finally figured out it would get on his nerves that the chime was just ringing, ringing, ringing. And he probably wanted to take that seatbelt, probably wrap around my neck. Not quite that much. But, once I figured out, he was like, "Is there a particular reason that you not taking this seatbelt and putting it on, Miss Ma'am?" And I was like, "Well, I'm doing a couple of things." And he's like, "Well, can you put your seatbelt on and then do those other things? Because that kind of irritates me." Oh, okay. So then I began to, okay, let me put my seatbelt on and let me do my three other things that I'm working on. So it's not ding, 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 dinging. So because I realized that it was beginning to irritate him, you know, so we got our little isms and schisms, So
Right.
once I realized it was irritating him, put my little click, and went on about my way.
And that may sound small to somebody. Somebody say he get irritated about that. Hey, listen, what irritate me may not irritate you, right? Now, something small to me, something big to her. Tisha buys my clothes, right? I, I ain't no shopper. Only thing I buy is my undergarment. Tisha buy everything else. Now, in my mind, whether I wear it tomorrow or I wear it next year, I get to it. No, Tisha likes immediate feedback. Why haven't you worn it? And I'm looking at her like, it's mine. I wear what I want to wear. Leave me alone, girl. But you understand what I'm saying? Everybody got their thing, and it's all right. It's all right. But whatever your thing is, you got to work that in your relationship. What are we really talking about? Now, I want to respond because we got some response in the audience. We asked the question, what's a good time period to give response? Somebody said a week. And there's no right or wrong answer, you know what I mean? Because it all depends on your marriage, your relationship, and the severity of the issue. A week could be a good answer depending on
What the
what the issue is.
situation?
If
Okay, and that's
if
fair.
if I don't like you slapping at me in my face, a week is a little too long, right?
Right, right.
That's a week longer slap. Something bad might happen in that week. All right. Now Beverly had a real interesting comment, and I love this. Beverly says, as far as responding, she says, I have to be quiet and really think about what I'm going to say. We have to remember words cannot be taken back.
Hmm.
I just have to be still and be quiet for at least an hour. You know what, Beverly? It took me several years to learn this. This is what I always tell men. Now, it's probably good for everybody, but I say it for men especially. Men, there are times we need to correct our wives, right? And we get ourselves full. We full of wind, and we finna go tell her something. Like I'm gonna go tell Tisha something. But I warn you, on your way to tell your wife something, will you please, please, please be sure to go past a mirror, please.
Hmm.
And when you get to the mirror, will you please, please, please stop in the mirror and just have a little small conversation with the person in the mirror and ask the person in the mirror, just before you go let her have it, how many things about the person in the mirror is aggravating her that she is having patience with you about. And don't just ask it, but just sit there for a moment and have a real thought, a real inward thought. And after you have that real honest inward thought, you're probably going to just come down a few pegs. And from that, what you was going to tell her, that's probably going to turn into sweetheart. I need to speak to you about something. It works for me. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Beverly also says we try not to go to bed angry, but sometimes it happens. Yeah, because you're human. But
Hmm.
Beverly, I'm gonna say you giving some wise advice here.
Oh
If,
yes.
if you've been at this for a minute, what this is wise advice. And Sarisa says, uh, what we will do when we get to a point where we are being petty with each other, we start writing letters to each other so our opponent explains with no interruptions. Oh my God, that is really, really good. And I'm glad that you shared that. That's something that I had to do years ago in my first marriage. I've never had to do that with Tisha because Tisha and I have found a way to really communicate. We don't get to the point where we get so that we can't talk. Now, I'm not gonna say we've never been there, but we've done a real good job at holding up the deal, get beyond the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that I plucked the nerves there. I know that. I can tell by the way she breathed. Yep, time me to go be quiet. And there's no shame in that. Just go be quiet. Just go be quiet, bro. Just go
I
because
am my father's
you
child.
know what I mean. It's okay. It's a moment, and she know when she gets on my nerves,
Yes,
right?
we
And,
both have a certain look. Mm-hmm.
and she'll go sit down somewhere so we can get beyond the moment. And once we get beyond that rough moment, now we can come together and have a sensible, rational, respectful conversation.
Yes.
All right. I love that about writing it. Doc Fee asked, let's see here. Let me put this on the screen. How would you feel with your reactions or words?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And that's why we're so careful, Doc. That's why we're so careful because, like I said, this is our second marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been through the horrors of a horrible first marriage.
Oh yes.
We've already had our feelings hurt. We already know what it's like not to like the person laying beside you, to feel lonely inside of a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And because we've learned those lessons, we have such deep bruises and scars from that. We have promised ourselves and each other that we're not going through that no more. So we're very sensitive to, hey, there's something that comes behind after you give somebody a piece of your mind. You know what I mean? I can tell Tisha what I'm thinking, but it's really in how I say it.
Mm-hmm.
How I say it. And let me say this too. You got to be able to take it.
Yes.
I got to be able to take when she tells me a truth about myself. And sometimes she got to tell me something that's not pretty.
And vice versa.
I got to be able to take it. Now she's gonna tell me in a way that's respectful because that's the way she talks to me. Tisha speaks to me in a very respectful way, and I speak to her in a very respectful way. And even though I may not mean any harm when I do or say something, I must take responsibility that what I've said or done has caused harm, and I got to do what I got to do to clean it up. Let me give you an example about something. If you invite me to your house and I spill milk on your carpet and I say I'm sorry and get in my car and leave, and that's it, do you really think I'm sorry? Because that milk is going to sour in your carpet and you got to smell that. But if I say I'm sorry, do everything I can to get it up at that moment, and then the next day I coordinate with you and send the carpet cleaners, they don't just clean that spot, but they clean 3 rooms. You really believe that I'm not only sorry about what I did, but I went the extra mile to fix it. Am I making myself clear?
Right. So that being said, when you have a conversation, if there is an issue, you're looking for not just an apology, but also a change in action.
When my children were younger, when I would put them on restriction, I never gave them a time limit. When they would say, Daddy, what am I off of restriction? I would tell them the 45th of November. Do y'all know when that is? That's never. So my the time limit of the restriction was when I'm convinced that the behavior has changed.
Right.
And not that Tisha and I put each other on restriction.
They absolutely do not.
No, we don't. But what we're looking for is the change in the behavior, right? When there's something that's bothering us, we're looking for a change in the behavior. That's what says to me, you heard me. Because tonight we're asking the question, what are we really talking about? Lanaya, you are so right. Communication is the key. I love communication. But here's the problem, though, Lanaya. I'm glad you said that. Here's the problem. The problem is people often say that communication is the key, but do you know how to effectively communicate? God bless you, Bishop David and Kenya. Bless you, brother. And don't think I'm poking holes in what you're saying, Lanaya. No, no, you brought up a beautiful point. I just want to make sure that we drive a nail through it. God bless you, Alan Anthony, my childhood friend. Communication is the key. This is a wonderful, very true statement. But what are we talking about? Okay, okay. I got to sit back because I got to say it. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but it drives me crazy when we do a whole bunch of talking but ain't saying nothing. James Brown made millions of dollars on a whole record talking about that. You're talking loud, but you ain't saying nothing. Get to the point. What is it that you're saying? But communicating is sending and receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Are you really speaking to what the issue is? No, don't talk around it, sweetheart. When you say that, that really hurt my feelings. I know I'm a big old bad man and I'm a protector of the house, but that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
She can't fix it if you don't tell her.
Right. And I think sometimes, as let me just interject, I'm sorry for
Go ahead,
cutting
yeah, yeah.
across. I think sometimes as women, because you're big, burly men, rough and tough, and y'all can blow houses down. Sometimes I think women look at the men as though we can't say and or do things to hurt your feelings. And your feelings can be hurt just like our feelings can be hurt. And then I think when your feelings do get hurt, we need to know so we can correct, um to repair, because y'all have feelings just like we do. Just the point.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. So, getting back to what Lanaya said, yes, communication is the key, but we have to say what it is. And then on the other end, am I really listening? Once Tisha tells me what the issue is, am I going to sit there and argue with her because my feelings hurt? Let me tell you a mistake that I used to make in my first marriage when I was young and dumb and didn't know better. She would come to me and tell me what the problem was, and I'm mad at her because that ain't what I meant. Well, you know that's not what I meant. You know that I meant to do this. I don't know why you keep coming to me with this. Crazy. And we were in counseling, and the counselor had to tell me, wait a minute. It don't matter what your intention was. You wrong, and you got to take responsibility for it. Man, when she said that, it was like a ton of bricks because she was so right that it made me mad. I didn't have nowhere else to run. I didn't have anywhere else to run. And it was a come to Jesus moment for me. Though my intentions were
Good.
good, I did something that hurt my wife. So when I'm listening to what she's saying, shut up and listen. She needs to feel heard. Stop defending yourself. Yeah, that's right, Miss Taylor, Mr. Taylor. I'm sorry, I don't know, is it Sarisa?
That's the risk.
So okay, thank you, Sarissa. That's accountability.
Mm-hmm.
You use the right word, accountability. I had to take accountability for my actions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very important in this communication. What are we really talking about? One thing I know about Tisha, if she got to say it too many times, she gonna stop talking. And when Tisha stops talking, that's very dangerous. That's dangerous territory for our marriage when she stops talking. I know that. I know that because I've listened to her and I've observed her. So if she get too quiet, I'm gonna make her talk. Hook or crook, you gonna talk to me because it's too dangerous when you're not talking. Huh?
That is a true statement.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm gonna listen. Well, okay, baby, say it again. I said this to you before. I know, but I ain't as smart as you. Say it again. And this time I'm gonna look right in your mouth.
I'm a speak in braille.
Right. Yeah. And to be honest with you, sometimes I'll use humor to kind of break things up because maybe I've been a little thick-headed. You know what I mean? So, however, I got to pull it out of her. I always want to make sure, did my wife feel heard? Fellas, sometimes our ladies need it more so than us. I'm not saying we don't need it. Please don't beat me up for that. I'm not saying we don't need it. But remember, our ladies are a little more emotionally built than we are, right? And Beverly said she can relate. She said she can be very quiet. Beverly, I ain't gonna mess with you, but well,
Miss Beverly.
Beverly can have a whole conversation with her eyes. Beverly can be quiet and talk you to death with them eyes. You know what she's talking about. And Sarisa says we often are so stuck in our own way till we don't hear what you are saying. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. Very important point. So here's the deal, Sarissa. I think I hear what you're saying. Because I'm stuck in the way that I want it or the way that I think it should be, I can only hear what you're saying from my corner. And I'm not receiving new information from you. I'm taking the information that you're giving me and I'm putting it in my old raggedy tattered box. All of us have to be very careful of that. Sometimes you got to receive the new information and it does not fit in the box that you standing in. You got to build a whole new box to receive the information from your partner. Am I making any sense?
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up, Sarissa. That is golden. I mean golden. Beverly says, yes, my eyes can see a lie. I'm glad that I turned into this.
Yes, Miss Beverly. We talking the same.
That's right. Tisha do it too. She look at me sometimes, but don't you do no Tina Floyd. Her daddy called Tina Floyd. And he could look at you with her eye. And I tell her, don't you Tina Floyd me. I know what you're doing. I know what you're saying. I ain't say nothing. Yes, you did. You said everything with your eyes. And you're right, Sarissa. Non-communication can be deadly. I try my best to make sure that when Tisha and we have serious conversations, I try to check my my nonverbal stuff. I try to check my body language and my facial expressions because I know those things are very important. Because we can turn each other off, especially when we're pouring out. Sometimes you're dealing with a subject that's so sensitive, it is taking you so long to get to a point where you finally can pour it out. And now, when a person's body language or facial expression says to you, I really don't want to hear this, or I really don't care, or this is just silly. This is why are we talking about this? That can turn you off. And if it took you 2, 3 years to finally get to the point where you could say it, and you feel like what you're saying is not important to them or well received, that's dangerous, dangerous territory. Once again, I'm gonna ask the question: what are we really talking about? Right? That's why we're having this conversation tonight. We're trying to make sure that we help people when we're communicating. What are we talking about? Now, there's a whole nother part to this. Once we have received what our partner is saying, what do we do with it? Okay, our trash day is Monday. Why am I just pulling the trash cans in on Thursday? Tisha don't like that. Okay, Tisha don't like that. I'm just using this as an example. So if I really want to respond to that, either one or two things gonna happen. Either I'm gonna get the trash cans in earlier, or she's gonna do it, or we're gonna get somebody to do it. Maybe I send my grandson out there to do it. As long as it get done right. Am I making myself clear? There has to be a response to let the other person know that I hear them. If we always just or we never respond, then this is really not good. You know what I mean? Somebody says, I love talking with my hands. It's not an issue until we disagree. So I ain't messing with that. The hands get to moving. Last time I started talking with my hands, I had to get in the back of a police car. But we're gonna talk about that on another episode. I'm just saying. Hey, Christina. Yes, you know, this is so important because listen, y'all, it's a lot of people having problems. Tisha and I do a lot of counseling with couples. It's more happening than you know. So we're not just pulling this out of thin air now. We ain't using no names, putting nobody business out there. But this is problematic in relationships. What do we do when the problem has been set in our lap and the problem is our fault? What if Tisha comes to me with a problem, but I don't know how to fix it? What is my responsibility to her? What if I come to her with a problem that she don't know how to fix? What is her responsibility to me? That's gonna make everybody think, right? Sometimes we don't have it in ourselves to fix the problem. And it's okay to look at your spouse and say, you know what? I don't know how to fix that. Can you help me, or can you help me to find help? Sometimes a counselor may be the problem. Christina Hampton is in the audience with us. She is a mental health professional. I'm not sure if she does couples counseling or not. I don't want to put that on her. And Sarissa says, be honest. You're right, Sarissa. One thing that plagued my first marriage, not being honest. You're pretending like you know, but you don't know, and you don't want to go find out. Therefore, the problem is not getting fixed. And I'm really aggravated. You talking about something that aggravate me? That really, because I feel like you playing with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like nobody to play with me like that now. And Christina says, yes, I do marriage and family counseling. Oh Lord, you might get some clients off of this thing, girl. I'm gonna put that up so people can see your name. So Christina Hampton does marriage and family counseling too. And I'm being honest. So listen, if y'all up and you're having them kind of problems, you might be able to call Christina Hampton. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Okay. So if you don't have it within you to fix it, maybe you need a counselor. Maybe you need a pastor. Maybe you need a big brother or big sister. Maybe you need a friend. You'd be surprised how much people know other couples. Sometimes we keep this stuff inside and we don't realize that there's another couple friend that you got. Y'all just haven't talked about this particular thing yet, but they going through the same thing.
Yeah, I think sometimes there are so many people that suffer in silence because they're afraid of being judged. And I think when you get to the point that you can realize that it is safe to talk, once you find the right group, let me say that, when you find a circle that is good for you and that you feel confident that you can speak to, that you know that they can, that they can hold your water and they're not going to have all your business out in the street, and you feel confident with your circle, run it by your circle and say, hey, look, I have this going on, and this is my situation. How would you handle this, whatever your situation or your scenario is? How would you handle this? Because what you can't do, how we have done so many years before, is to suffer in silence. You can't mend and heal if you're suffering in silence.
That's right.
Get the help that you need by first, reaching out to your friends. And of course you go to God in prayer, but talk it out with your friends, because sometimes, people have the lived experience. Go to a seasoned couple that have some years in their marriage that can say, well, girlfriend, this is how I handled the situation, or, you know, however you need to get the help. you know how do you handle this, or how would you handle that? What would you do? I think it's really freeing when you trust somebody enough, when you're having situations or circumstances where you're really asking for their genuine input on what your situation is, and that they can give you some genuine feedback to say, this is, in this situation, this is how I would handle it. um it's very helpful. It is freeing when you feel like your back is up against the wall and somebody can give you a crutch or two to help you in your situation that can release you. So
Amen.
that's my input on that.
We have a question from Teresa. She says, "Is it appropriate to ask, what do you want me to do with that? Not in a sarcastic way, in a serious, compassionate way." Yes, I understand what you're saying, Teresa. In other words, Tisha has just come to me, and she's laid something on me, and I may not fully understand what she wants. Another way to ask that question is, what is the desired result? And listen, I'm a person, I like to make sure I get it right to the point. I'll ask a question like that. Okay, now you brought this to me. Tell me what you want to happen. That sounds like,
Exactly.
because especially if it's something that I don't want to do twice, right? And I don't like to guess. I like to take the guesswork out of what I'm doing. If I'm gonna put this effort into making sure that I'm letting you know that you're heard, you're seen, and I'm responding to what you want, I'm gonna ask that question. Hey, what do you want me to do with this? What is your desired result? What are you trying to get out of this? That is a very fair question, especially if there's any way that what's being said or what's being requested can be misunderstood. Now, I'm gonna tell you, sometimes you're gonna ask that question, and the person may take it as sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to make sure that you let them know, hey, listen, and this sometimes I tell teachers, listen, I don't mean for this to sound crazy. I just need to say this, or I just need to ask you. And she'll tell me the same thing. Now, look, I don't want you to think I'm talking crazy to you, but and we just got to put our big boy and big girl underoos on and take that medicine. You know what I mean? And Sarisa says, yes, people try so hard to be perfect to help themselves till they suffer in silence. That's true. And Teresa says, help me to help you. You
Yeah.
couldn't have said it more perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Help me to help you. That's one of my favorite things, to be honest with you. Because I want to get it right. Now, in my first marriage, there was another thing, because I would ask those clarifying questions. You just need to understand, girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And
trying
some
to.
some people expect for you to be a mind reader. Some and or say for example, some people say, "Well, you should ought to know." Well, hold up now. Some people have unrealistic expectations. If you can't even tell me what it is that you want, how do you expect for me to know? You should be able to communicate what it is that you're looking for. And I'm gonna just jump back and say this. So oftentimes, sometimes when people are dating, um before they get to the point of marriage, they don't clearly communicate what it is that they're looking for, or their expectations, what they're looking for in a partner for the marriage. I'm looking for someone that is confident, somebody that is honest, somebody that is going to be, as far as a man, that's going to be a God fearing man, that's going to be the head of the household, that's going to be a leader that can lead, not not just himself, but the household, the children, to make sure that he's taking the children, the whole family. It's not just he go, but lead the family, all of us together. It ain't no, I just want to go to church. I want the family as a whole to go to church. Nobody should be left behind. You have to be specific in what it is that you're looking for. So I think sometimes those things aren't communicated. So there's a whole lot of gaps and what expectations you get, or sometimes you get a switch and bait.
I was having a conversation live yesterday with Christina Hampton, and one thing we talked about is mental health. And sometimes you don't even know that you're dealing with a person that's unwell, and
Mm-hmm.
you may not know that they're unwell, and they may not know that they're unwell. And sometimes it's not even an unwell thing; it's an unexposed. I haven't been exposed to a healthy relationship, so I don't even really understand what effective communication looks like. Christina Hampton just said, I don't believe anyone should know something you haven't clearly stated, which is a very true statement. And I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it, but I want to pause for a minute to help somebody who may be in a relationship with somebody who has not had the example of a healthy relationship. Before you go off the deep end, make sure that this is not the problem. The problem may be that your partner is not exposed, right? And if that's the problem, that's very fixable, right? But let's just make sure we identify the problem. If that's the problem, they're just not exposed to a healthy relationship, and maybe they themselves are unwell. Tisha just said something to make a lot of sense. Have we clearly communicated what it is that we desire? And I learned the first time around, when somebody has unreasonable and unrealistic expectations, recipe for disaster. You can't have one person living in the real world and another person living in a fantasy land.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that one hurt too. You know, it really does. And Christina says, we make that mistake thinking the other person should just know how we feel or what we need. Communication is really the key. We don't take anything for granted. And Teresa says couples are often wounded mates, meaning deeply wounded in ways the other is not aware of. This is right. In other words, now I'm gonna tell you this. I knew of a couple. They were having serious issues with intimacy, serious issues, and I was helping them work through it. Well, in helping them work through it, it finally came out that the wife had been sexually abused in her childhood, and she had never told the husband about it. Well, that was the problem. That was the problem. Her innocence had been stolen, trust had been broken by a trusted person in the family, and that was a wound that never healed. And so he's thinking that the intimacy problem was her problem with him, but it was a her problem with a portion of herself, that little girl in her that got crushed, that never got healed. Now, I wasn't able or equipped to totally help with that part. So I directed them to someone who could help them with that part. Because one thing I'm not going to do is mess around in an area where I'm not equipped, because I want you to get the help, right? I'm not proud. Once they got the help in that area, they were able to mend the fences and move on to a healthy and productive area in their intimacy. And intimacy don't always mean just sex, right? Intimacy is a whole lot more than just, the act of sex. But somebody who's been sexually abused, man, that's a wound. And that's what I'm talking about. That's an unwell person. But because she had never really dealt with it, she didn't even understand how unwell she was. She did not connect the dots between the sexual abuse and her not able to be intimate with her husband. She had never connected it. And somebody saying, "What? She should have known that." No, no, no. You should have known it, because you're healthy and well. She was unhealthy and unwell, so she didn't know it. Am I making myself clear? But because they reached out for help, we were able to identify and get her to somebody who specialized in that particular thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. So once again, we talk about, so what are we really talking about? This is what I mean when I say we got to really get to it. You can't hold on to stuff like that, because you'll end up going through 3 or 4 marriages holding on to stuff like that, and you're never dealing with the problem. You're dealing with symptoms. I wonder why I can't keep a relationship together. I wonder why I can't keep a job. I wonder why I can't keep friends. Because the real issue is never being dealt with. Teresa says trauma bonding at its finest, so each person is stuck and can't get out of each other's way. Yes, yes, yes. And I know that sexual assault is a big one, but some of us have lesser problems. You had a mean mom, so your view of a woman is skewed because you had a mean, cantankerous mom. Um, your daddy was a workaholic. All he did was work and pay the bills. Your daddy never told you he loved you. Daddy never hugged you. Daddy was never around to teach you anything. But one thing he did teach you was how to go to work. So you know how to go to work, but you don't know how to function in the household as a present father. And because that's what you saw your father do, that's all you have to offer your wife and your children. And because your mama took it, you mad because your wife can't take it. Am I making myself clear? But your
Mm-hmm.
wife is telling you that she's dying inside. She need her husband to hold her, to be there, to be at the kids' ball games. And you telling her, I'm paying the bills. I'm going to work. Brother, did you hear what she said?
He didn't.
I mean, what are we talking about? Okay? We got to get to it. We got to tighten up. We got to tighten up. I hope this is helping y'all. I hope so. Teresa says, and it is in relationship that we grow. Iron sharpens iron, but both must communicate with clarity. Teresa, you helping me. I'm gonna have to send you a check. uh, we will be what we see. What is illustrated before us is the behavior that we take on. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that in my first marriage, I was looking for my wife to be the type of woman that my mother was. Now, in all honesty, that's not altogether wrong. What was wrong was I should have checked those boxes before I met her. That's what I erred. Okay. Now, Tisha embodies so many of the qualities that my mom does. Not that I wanted to marry my mama, it's just that my mama set such a great example of what a wife and a mama should be. I'm not saying she was without faults. Mama was crazy, you know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you one thing, I lost my mama July of last year. Oh, how I wish I could have her now. What an example of a mother and a wife.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so before I could really even put language to it, that's what I was looking for because she modeled certain things for me, how to keep a home together, how to keep children together. Mama didn't have to threaten us with your dad get home.
Oh, mama did that work.
Oh no. Mama put that work in. And then she told daddy when he got home and we got some more work. Yeah, my mama wasn't no no.
Threatened you with a good time.
Yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
gave you a good time.
Now, if this is helpful, y'all let me know in the chat if this is helpful. Now, I want to make sure we ain't just beating our gums tonight. Like I said, we trying to get to it. What are we talking about? Are we communicating effectively? Are we transmitting what needs to be transmitted? Are we receiving? Are we listening, not just to defend ourselves, but are we listening so we can have understanding? Are we listening so that we can respond to what is being said and not just responding to defend ourselves? Not just responding to make sure, that we seem to be perfect. Are we making sure that we get it right so that it can be right? And are we treating each other with dignity and respect? Amen. Thank you all for the response. Listen, this is so needed. And this is the homework for the people that are here tonight that are getting help. Make sure that in your circle, be very watchful of the other couples that are in your circle. It's people that are having on the verge of divorce that really don't need to be divorced.
Mm-hmm.
They could have healthy, functional marriages if they get the help. Some of them have no idea what questions to ask. And if you are in a healthy, functional marriage, this sounds crazy to you. They don't know a question to ask. No, they don't. Because they're not healthy like you. They're not exposed like you. They're not learned like you. It's easy to you because you've been there, done that, you've overcome it, and you can spot it, right? But for some of these people who can't spot it, they're stumbling and stumbling and stumbling and don't know what it is. But you have the level of maturity and experience. You could jump in. You don't need a license in marriage counseling to help with some of this stuff. Some of this stuff is just, hey, listen, My spouse and I've had this same issue. Come on, let us help you. Let's go out to dinner. Or let's take a walk. Or y'all need to come around our house. Matter of fact, y'all need to pack it up and come tonight. The way y'all behaving, come tonight. Right? Be somebody's help.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of marriages can be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't encourage nobody to stay in a marriage where they're getting their brains beat out. Don't do that. Don't send a battered woman back home to get beat again. Don't send a battered child back to get beat again. Don't do that. Be the safe place. And if you don't have what it takes to be the safe place, pick up the phone and call somebody who can. All right. Now, before we get off of the air, I want to make sure that we have answered any questions. If there are any more questions in the audience, I want to make sure that we answer them. I thank God for y'all for these comments. Beverly said it's been very informative. Maybe she can control her eyes. Beverly, I ain't messing with you. Alan said it was great teaching. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. And Teresa said, perhaps ask what I heard you say. Is this true?
Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Ah, did I read that right?
Mm-hmm.
What's she saying there?
She's like when you're talking to what I perceive she's saying is like when you talk to them, they say, now what I heard you say is because what she to basically reiterate and say, is this am I hearing this correctly?
Got it, got it. Teresa says couples may handle conflict different differently. Like a person runs some fights, so couples need to learn how to disagree. Hey, good point, Teresa. Let me deal with that real quick before we run. Conflict handled in conflict resolution. You're right. People, depending on how you were raised, what your makeup is, we do handle conflict differently.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to learn how to handle conflict without being difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can be angry, but I don't have to deal with Tisha angrily, right? We can be in disagreement, but we don't have to be disagreeable. Tisha and I may not agree on how to handle a certain thing. We've been in disagreement over time about how to handle certain things, but we're not going to walk around in a disagreeable state. One thing I've learned with Tisha, we might not agree today, but if you give us a little time, we'll figure it out. Does that make sense? Sometimes we're looking for a solution right now, but you won't get the solution right now. Give it some time. Be kind to each other. It's not a fight about who's in charge of the house. No, be fair to each other. Be fair to each other. Be good to each other. This is what I told Tisha in the first few weeks of us getting together. I said, I done already dealt with a mean, cantankerous woman. I ain't doing it no more. I ain't doing it no more. It's three things that I got to have from you. I got to have all of them or I'm out. Be good to me, be nice to me, and be honest with me. If you do those three, I'll never leave and you can have the world. I told her off of the rip, 95% of the time, you're going to get your way because I want to please you. The 5% of the time I clear my throat, don't fight me. It's a reason why I'm saying no. It's a reason why I'm saying this is what we're doing. I'm easy. Don't make it difficult. Have I honored that?
Yeah, you easy like Sunday morning.
Right? I like peace. And I told her this too. To be with me, you got to love peace. To be with me, you got to love peace. You got to be willing to fight for peace. I don't want nobody who don't love peace. You like to argue, fuss, and fight. You got to be with somebody else. I'm not doing that. I already been down that road. I'm not doing that no more.
Yep.
And I'm not dealing with no mean joker.
And both of us are very peaceful.
Yeah. All right. Happy wife, happy life. Yeah, happy wife, happy life when you got a wife with good sense.
I concur.
Now, listen, you can make me go into a whole nother show, so leave it alone, girl. Good to see you, Pastor Martin. God bless you. Listen, we're going to sign off for now. I want y'all to remember that every first Monday of every month, Tisha and I do this love thing. It is the ministry of intimate relationships. If y'all have a particular topic that you want us to talk about, reach out to us. You can drop us, a note in the chat. If you have one of our phone numbers, you can hit us up. If you got a topic and it's interesting, we'll do a whole show about it. Believe me. And listen, nobody will have to know that it came from you. We can put all your business in the street and nobody will know it's your business because we ain't gonna say a word about your name. All right. But we can help you with your problem. We are very prayerful that as we come on and speak about these things, that is helping you. And we have a tagline for these first Mondays. Tisha and I say that on first Mondays, we don't teach in the King James, we teach in the Uncle James. In other words, it's real talk to real people with real problems who need real answers. And we are here for it. All right. So we love y'all and we pray that what we dealt with tonight was helpful for you. All right. We will see y'all on Friday evening.
Don't you have the Tuesday?
But that's Carl's Conversations.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, tomorrow night, if y'all want to join me on my Carl's Conversations platform, I'll be continuing in the Black Excellence Showcase. That'll be on the Carl's Conversations platform. But for those people who want to continue with Transition Place, we'll be back on Friday night for Transition Stories and Biblical Teaching. All right. So until then, may God bless each and every one of you. We thank you for being in the audience, and we pray that you got something here tonight that will help you. And if this was helpful to you, make sure you send the link to somebody else. Somebody's marriage may be in trouble or headed to trouble, and maybe something we tackled here today may be helpful to them. All right. Until then, we'll see you. Bye bye for now.
Take care.